Welcome to episode 2 of Innovations in Business Technology. I'm your host, Troy McCauley. Thank you so much for joining us today. It's recording on September 23rd, 2017. And our topic for today is augmented reality for the enterprise and for hospitality. So the reason we're discussing augmented reality today is that the most recent upgrade to Apple's iOS just occurred last Tuesday called iOS 11. And what iOS 11 has added to the mix is what's called ARKit, which is a set of tools for developers as well as a set of software tools for the iPhone and iPad to be able to create true augmented reality and make that available for the customer as well as for the developer. So what is augmented reality? Quite simply, augmented reality is any time that you add virtual objects to the real world, whether that be through video or through photograph, although most commonly it's done through some kind of a video interactivity. The most popular and well-known example of augmented reality is not actually true augmented reality, but it was the Pokemon Go application which launched last year. Now, for those not familiar, Pokemon Go was a game that was based off of a popular children's cartoon and card game from the early 2000s. And what the game allowed you to do is to go around the actual real world and find Pokemon or little pocket monsters who were hiding in the real world. And once you found them, the monster would appear on your actual phone screen in the real world as if it were an actual thing. And then you'd be able to use your finger to flick a little Pokeball at it, catch it, and add to your collection. And various other sundry gamified items. The game was incredibly popular, and although it has reduced in popularity, it's still able to command an average of 20 million users per day, which for comparison purposes is typically more people playing Pokemon Go than are watching the top 10 non-primetime TV shows combined on a daily basis. So that's a pretty dramatic audience, and it does show what the power of AR can be, as there have been lots of other Pokemon games, lots of other Pokemon properties, but none of them ever created the kind of phenomenon that Pokemon Go did. And that's because when you can add the digital fantasy onto the real world, it creates a significant improvement in engagement and interactivity. So what's the big deal about ARKit? Well, what ARKit does is it takes that to the next level, because all Pokemon Go did was basically put a picture on top of a video feed. That was really all it did. So it played itself. You played the game just like you would in any other situation, and the only thing it did was, instead of having the background being, a cartoon background, the background was just the live video feed from your phone. And it also did geolocation, which, was what got people out and going into the real world. But the AR part of it was just superimposing on a video feed. What's different with ARKit is what ARKit does now is it allows the phone to create what's called a cloud map, a map of tens of thousands of points around it so that it can map the surfaces. It can figure out there's a wall there, there's a table here, there's a chair there, there's a floor there, and be able to place virtual objects that have tactile connectivity. So I could create an AR object, and if I drop it, it would stop when it hits the table, just like the real object does. And because of that, it creates a much more tactile and engaging illusion of reality for that augmented item. Already, a lot of furniture companies have come out which allow you to take a picture of your room, map it out with a cloud mapping point, and then place furniture and see how you think it would look with a new IKEA couch or a new IKEA table or a lazy boy recliner, etc. And that's just the very, very tip of the iceberg. The AR kit's only been released to developers 3 months ago, and it's only been in public hands for less than 7 days. Yet already there are thousands of augmented reality applications and dozens of good ones. But like with any new release, we're going to see, we have not seen the game-changing application for AR yet. But both, actually, Microsoft, Google, Facebook, and Apple have all gambled huge, believing that the combination of augmented reality and artificial intelligence will be what's called the fourth transformation, the fourth major change in how technology affects the world. And they're betting everything on it. If you read the statements from the shareholder meetings from those 4 companies, the last 4, all of them were very heavily based on their belief that whoever dominates the augmented reality platform will have a dominant position moving forward. So what does this mean for you, the business person, for someone in the hospitality industry, or someone who runs a manufacturing plant, or someone in a retail store? What it means is that now you literally have an entire extra layer upon which you can add interactive items for your customer or for your guest to either improve their experience, to provide marketing opportunities, to provide intelligence gathering opportunities, to provide guest service interaction opportunities that would have been incredibly expensive to implement before. No longer do you need to spend thousands of dollars if you're a hotel on a virtual smart mirror or adding tablets to the rooms. Your customers are already bringing the hardware. Every customer who comes into your facility, with very few exceptions, is going to be walking in with an iPhone or a Galaxy or a Pixel Essential or something along those lines, a supercomputer worth hundreds, or in the case of the iPhone 10, $1,000 or more dollars. So you don't need to worry about building expensive hardware infrastructure to provide this information for your guests. You can simply let their hardware do that for you. So now if you wanted to have the ability for your guests to directly interact with room service, with a concierge, with travel partners, with the shuttle, with the airline, with housekeeping, etc., they can do that through a virtual concierge, which will literally appear on their phone in their room, in the hallway next to the ice machine, in the swimming pool area, while they're sitting there wishing they had a drink or wishing they had extra towels. Now they simply pull up their phone, the virtual concierge appears on their phone in the real world, interacting with them, and interacts with them to get that information or to help them acquire that. It could be something as simple as they look on their phone, and if they're pointing their phone at the gym, they have the option to, the gym is open these hours. Do you want to reserve a particular exercise equipment? They point it at the pool. The pool is open these hours, these hours. Do you need extra towels delivered to your room? Would you like room service here at the pool? So you don't need to go so far as to have a talking virtual avatar there with your customers. But what's important to consider is that everything that you would have had to spend thousands of dollars on advertising materials or thousands of dollars on high-tech equipment to allow interactions with your guests, now your guests can simply do that on their own device, and it's no longer a requirement that they have to log into your app, sign in, go through all the difficulties of managing an app experience. Now it's literally, there's someone standing there, or even if it's just a sign standing there with the information that pops up, they have a direct interaction. Augmented reality can massively improve your guests' experience, massively improve your ability to service your guests, whether you're a hotel, whether you're a country club, whether you're a retail store, whether you're a restaurant, right? Any of these things are going to be a major positive change for you. So let's take a look at retail store implementations as an example again. Okay, so retail stores are already implementing augmented reality mapping systems that are integrated with their online shop. So let's say I'm a customer, I walk in and I have my smartphone in hand, and I simply look up the shopping app. I was at home and I already saw that I wanted to buy something that's in the store. I walk in the store knows that the phone knows it's me because it's my phone. I don't need to log in. Everything's already based on me. And it's just going to interact with the augmented reality application that's already in place. So I walk in, it says, welcome to the store. I see that you ordered an item. That item is in stock. It is here in this location and provides me, like GPS directions, a little arrow moving on the floor, showing me where I need to go in order to make that purchase. I can just scan my phone around and see, are there any unexpected sales, specifically sales on things that the app knows that I buy a lot. So I walk into the store, I'm just scanning around, it says, oh, by the way, there's a sale on baby formula, the same kind of formula that you regularly buy. Would you like me to show you where it is? Can create interactive coupons. You can create interactive marketing experiences. A customer walks into your store, they look in their phone, and all of a sudden, I'm in Philadelphia, so the quarterback of the Philadelphia Eagles is standing in the middle of the store just waiting for them. They can go over and he'll, give them the marketing spiel, what are the sales, whatever. He can hand the phone to his significant other, walk over and stand right next to the quarterback of the Philadelphia Eagles and take a photograph while he's in that store. A great example is something that a hotel in the UK did very recently, where they took, this was an expensive situation where they basically took rotoscoped 3D photographs of the 4 Olympic stars who medaled for the UK. And then what they did is they placed those characters in a virtual, in an augmented reality experience. A customer would walk in, they would just scan a QR code sitting on a sign, and then boom, the 4 Olympic medalists would appear on the phone as if they were standing right there in front of the customer. So the customer was able to hand the phone off, walk over, take pictures with any one of the Olympic stars they wanted to. They could, push on their phone and get a predefined engagement from that Olympic star, get a recommendation from them. There was an interactivity where the windsurfing medalist was standing on the customer's bed, windsurfing with a sheet, silly stuff, but very engaging, very interesting. And again, this is just scratching the surface. Most recently at the Apple keynote for when ARKit was announced in June, it was likened to 2007 when the iPhone first came out, and I think that's an accurate representation. In 2007, the iPhone came out and smartphones moved to dominate the world. Everything now has something to do with smartphones, to the point from the fact that the President of the United States now conducts diplomacy on Twitter, to the fact that every 10-year-old now has access to the combined encyclopedia of the world while they're sitting on their couch playing Pokemon Go. It's a massive change. So we're going to take a quick break, have a word from our sponsor, Atlantic IT, and then I'll play a few videos showing some examples of how augmented reality has been implemented by companies already, and some ways which we can expect it to happen in the future. So first, we want to thank Atlantic IT, a professional services IT company operating out of Somerset, New Jersey. for all of the support that they have provided to the podcast. If you are looking for network support or IT support, managed services, monitoring, security, anything that has to do with maintaining your company's IT network, then Atlantic IT is a resource that you can depend on with over 30 years of combined experience in providing managed services to companies in the tri-state area. Atlantic IT is our sponsor, and we are very proud to have them on board and thank them for making this show possible. All contact information for Atlantic IT will be listed in the show notes after the episode. So now we're going to move on to discussing a few of the samples of what other companies have been doing with augmented reality in the past. So here we see a very simple use of taking a printed brochure and using it to instigate an augmented reality experience. This is very simple to implement. It's basically just a connection using the brochure, but as you can see, it does add a little bit more interactivity to the experience, but it's more of a novelty. Here we see what has been mostly the primary utilization of augmented reality in the hospitality space, and that is just 360 video samples for customers to take a look at other facilities. Now, if someone was wearing a Google Cardboard or a 3D virtual reality headset, it would be much more immersive. They'd be able to look around, but still it's just a 360-degree version of a static video, not really that engaging. So here we see some of the things now that companies are starting to do with the new AR kit. Now this is IKEA and their AR furniture application. And now again, remember, AR kit was only released 3 months ago, so this is very, very fresh off the presses technology. But what you're going to see them able to do is put the furniture in actual physical place within the room. In the past, all you were really able to do is take a picture and superimpose another picture on it. But now, as you can see, the person's walking towards the furniture. That's where it is. So they can literally walk around the room, placing furniture around, moving it around, and as far as he's concerned, right, this room can have any furniture it wants. It really does add a much more useful version of these types of retail experiences. And while IKEA was first to the bat, pretty much every furniture, mattress, office retailer is already working very heavily on this technology, and Apple, Google are betting on it as well. Now we're going to see, this is the hotel that I mentioned in the show in the UK with the Olympic medalist, and this is a simple implementation of AR and an expensive implementation of AR. They had to hire people, they had to do all the green screen work and all that photography. That's not cheap, but it does provide this experience. Now the customer walks in and there's the Olympic medalist there. All right. What we have here now, we're starting to see real changes in the environment. All right. So in this situation, this is a simple demo that someone did using ARKit within a short period of time, and they're literally able to create a change in the environment. Now, while this is just for the lulz, so to speak, it's just a sample of what can be done. It gives you an idea how you can create interactions that are physically present in your store, in your hotel, in your office, etc., that completely change what is actually there from the perspective of the person. And remember, the person is just on their phone looking through all this, so they can still see what's really there, right? But now the world literally changes based on what they're able to see. Here's another example of this. This is a great example of shared locality, right? So this is a guy standing in his office in the middle of in Silicon Valley somewhere. And wait a minute, what's that? It's a magic doorway into a 360 broadcast of a soccer game. Now it could be a live broadcast or a broadcast recording, or it could be a 360 video of the pyramids of Giza, whatever. But he's able to walk through that portal, and now, at least through his phone, he or she is there, and you have that interactivity. So I hope that this gives a little bit of an idea. This one I always find very dramatic because it does show that change of reality is something that's very possible using this technology. And the more people are able to think of practical applications for this, I think we're going to see a huge explosion in the retail space and more. So that pretty much covers it as far as today's episode. I hope everyone had a informative time, and I really look forward to hearing some comments and feedback as we continue to improve and expand the show. So thank you once again for joining us on episode 102 of Innovations in Business Technology. And that's Big Troy signing off.